I need another surgery.
Hi, welcome back. My name is Vanessa and I have shared the story of how I broke and dislocated my ankle during bouldering in Portugal mid-July last year. To summarize it, I fell and had an open fracture, so I had an emergency surgery right away. I was hospitalized for 4 weeks and had 3 surgeries. After I was released with 3 titanium screws in my ankle, it took 5 more weeks before the surgeon gave me the green light to walk on my injured foot.
What's up?
I'm walking.
Walking was slow at first, but improved massively during my 3 months of extensive physiotherapy. However, the doctors were concerned that at that point, I was still not able to dorsiflex my ankle properly. Dorsiflexion is raising your foot from the ankle upwards, and as you can see here, my left foot, the injured one, has less range of motion than my non-injured foot. Dorsiflexion is usually the last movement to regain, because all the soft tissue has become tight. So I kept going, hoping for the best. And I was so happy to step upstairs again for the first time. If you look at my steps now, I think they look pretty normal because it's in the morning, so my foot is well rested. I don't feel pain right now. I still feel that there is something not as it's supposed to be. And I'm also sure the more I walk today, the more I'm probably gonna feel it again. But yeah, in the morning, so far, it feels pretty good. And that means my foot is healing, but I cannot be on my foot for too long. Like yesterday, after the physiotherapy, I had a shopping tour in a big grocery store and I got a few items and food. And by the time I went home, I really felt pain in my foot because I've been walking for too long that day. And also the floor in the supermarket, in the grocery shop, is kind of hard. So a soft surface like the beach or a meadow works better with an injured foot like this. So I kept walking on soft grounds like grass and the beach, and the slightly uneven but soft ground sends a lot more signals to my foot than hard concrete floor, and that really helped with healing. But while the overall strength and mobility of my ankle improved, I kinda hit the wall concerning dorsi and plantarflexion. Even by mid-October, I was still not able to bend my knee over my toes while the heel stayed on the ground.
This is all I can do as of now. And it used to be worse just a few days ago until we really tackled this kind of movement in physiotherapy. But I have to do it also at home. I'm holding here and then lean my body forward, really trying to bend the ankle so that it's possible for me to get my knee further down, and I really feel the tension. So I'm counting until 20. The reason why this movement is so important is I needed to go down the stairs like this. But that's not possible when I cannot bend my knee, as you can see.
And my knee is completely fine. It's just I cannot fold my leg at the ankle, so the knee doesn't follow. Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that hurting your ankle also affects your knee. So I also tried to do some exercises at home. Like here I rolled out my yoga mat and then tried to squat more or less. But yeah, as you can see, the movement is very limited. Dorsiflexion is also important to cushion impact in general, like when jumping or running. I also practice dorsiflexion in the soft sand at the beach, and comparing my left leg with my right one is kind of frustrating. At this time I still hope that it was just due to tightened soft tissue like ligaments and tendons that restrict my movement, so I tried to stretch them. Walking to the beach was still a bit far, so usually I went out into the park and did some exercises there. Here you can clearly see that I could easily bend my knee over my non-injured foot, while I really struggled to do this with my left injured foot. It wasn't painful, but it felt like I hit an invisible wall. It was especially noticeable when I tried bending, standing on one leg. It was easy to bend the right leg, but I couldn't bend the left leg at all. I kept stretching and hoping that this would help, but it didn't. At this point I started to worry that the restriction in movement might not actually come from the soft tissue, but from the bones. Unfortunately, this turned out to be true. My surgeon ordered a CT scan and we found out that parts of my fractured bone had stopped consolidating. The bone ends had hardened, which meant that my body would not initiate a consolidation there anymore. This is referred to as non-union. Despite practicing dorsiflexion almost daily, even by late November, I was still not able to move my shin bone, my knee, over my toes, while my heel stayed on the ground. As you can see here in comparison, that was absolutely possible with my non-injured right leg, but not with my injured left leg. By late November, I tried doing some home workouts again. It felt good and I thought I could return to the gym soon, but my ankle was still kinda stiff and swollen, so it didn't really work that well. So I was back to the hospital at the beginning of December. The surgeon explained that if we don't do this, it would end in a disaster later in my life, so I agreed to the surgery. However, I was really miserable after this surgery. This was my 4th surgery on my ankle, and this time the surgeon added 2 more titanium screws. Now I have 5 screws in total. He also transplanted a piece of my hip bone to my ankle. That was kinda frightening. Because of that, my body was paralyzed from the hips down. This also affected my healthy leg. I could still move it, but I had less control, and when I touched it, it felt very numb. Like when you fall asleep on your arm and then it feels kinda numb for a while. The nurses explained to me that this was necessary to prevent the pain from becoming unbearable. Each time I was exposed to water, was it outside in the rain or in the shower, I had to put my foot into a plastic bag. Because if the fresh wound got wet, I could have risked an infection. This is what my foot currently looks like. I still have this pencil here, which covers my new wound from the surgery. And as for pain level, I do have some kind of pain here. It's more like a stretching sensation. I'm not sure. It's probably because my foot was kept still in a cast for about 2 weeks, and now I cannot walk on it. So the sensation is kind of weird. I'm going to show you my wounds now, so if you can't see graphic images, please skip this part. Here's my new surgery scar. There were threads, and it's still kind of fresh. I just put on some cream, but I will put on a new cream that I bought, is this one. Because one of my friends recommended this scar cream to me. One nice thing about this scar is before it used to be like the skin was double folded, but while I was laying on the cot waiting to be shoved into the operation room, I asked my surgeon if it's possible to this time not double fold my skin, because then the scar would be like kind of thick and not very pleasant. He reopened the scar, and if you can see that, the skin is not double folded. Instead, now I can see like these pins here from the thread. It still looks kind of gruesome, but I'm sure it will fade, and there is still some crust from the blood, but this will probably come off soon. I will not tear it off with my nails right now. I want to wait until it comes off naturally to not cause any wounds or infections. And also, as you can see, my skin is still kind of flaky. It was the same after the last surgeries. It's also probably because now, again, I am in the phase of non-weight bearing, and there is also still this color that they put during the surgery, especially on my nails. It's very persistent, this orange color, but this will wash off at some point. And then on the other side, they did nothing in the surgery, so this is just the scar where my skin ripped open. So this side looks quite good, except for the swelling is still here, but it's very persistent in the foot. That is probably normal. This is the stage I'm at now, and I'm gonna apply some of the cream. This cream is kind of expensive. I paid almost 45 euros just for this small tube. But my friend had some cuts in her face, and she showed me before and after pictures, and you don't see anything. I think it's worth it if it works. And I still have these scars from the fixator pin. They are pretty annoying, so I'm trying to smooth them. And we'll see how good this cream actually is. But since this cream is so expensive, I am expecting it to work as advertised. Hello! Now it's out of focus here. Yeah, you can probably hear that I also caught a cold. So yeah, this year is really trying to bite me in my arse. But it takes more than that to bright my spirits. By now the scar has already faded quite a bit. The blood crust came off. I usually clean it with a soft cloth. This is microfiber. I make it wet, and then I just clean the scar very gently, like this. And even though the scar is much more prominent than it used to be before the surgery, I kind of like it more because the skin isn't double folded anymore, so it doesn't feel as tight when I move my ankle. As you can see, I already regained quite a lot of motion back. And actually, I kind of like the shape of the scar because it looks like a branch of a tree with the leaves on the side where the pins were. The staples. And not staples, they had the threads there. So even though it's more prominent now, I'm also sure it will fade quite a bit time by time, and my foot is still kind of bruised here. So I just have to be patient and very gentle. So now it's been about 2 weeks after my 4th surgery, and the foot in the white sock is the one that got the surgery. And I can feel a stretching sensation here. It's mildly painful actually, but I have a feeling that the more I keep moving it, the better it becomes. Here's a comparison about my ankle performance about a month later. I've been doing this basically every evening while watching Netflix. In my upcoming video, I'll show you how I move around while I cannot walk. Spoiler, among other things, I use this kind of scooter. So see you in my next video and have a good one.